Hi everyone, it's Mary from Joyful and Mary Quilting. One aspect of quilting involves accuracy and precision, which means that there are going to be occasions when we may need to cut teeny tiny pieces of fabric using teeny tiny tools. So let's take a look at 10 teeny tiny tools that are available, plus a fun little bonus at the end you'll want to stick around for in our teeny tiny quilting world. The first teeny tiny tool that I have to show you is this add an eighth ruler. This is usually used for foundation paper piecing, and normally what we would have is a ruler that is called an add a fourth or add a quarter inch to our piecing, which is when we trim our seam allowances. But there are occasions when we make teeny tiny blocks and we need to have an eighth of an inch when it comes to that seam allowance. That's when we use the add an eighth ruler. One of my absolute favorite tools that I love to use, I used to use pins all the time and I still do, but once I became acquainted with clips, I love them. There are teeny tiny clips, and then there are the larger size clips that can be used to clip our pieces together. When we have blocks that have many pieces that are the same size, we can clip them together. We can clip blocks together. Anything that needs a large clip works well with the large clips. But sometimes we just want a clip to function like a pin. We want it to be small enough to actually go over our seam allowance and clip something together. That's where the teeny tiny clip really comes in handy, and I love it. I love to foundation piece, and one of the things that you need to do when you are foundation piecing is you need to print your pattern on a piece of paper. I usually do that on my computer. I'll print out the pattern, I'll cut it out, and I'll use it as my foundation piecing paper. But then I became acquainted with this little product that's available through the Fat Quarter Shop, and there are so many different patterns, big, little, medium-sized, that actually has the foundation pattern printed right on it. It's like a tablet, and you just tear off however many pieces you need, or you can buy more if you have a block or a quilt that has a lot of the foundation piecing patterns in it. I am really excited about these because the paper is of really great quality for removing. I still use my perforating blade, make sure that I have everything perforated before I use the paper. They're easy to remove, and you can make those teeny tiny 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch square in a square blocks using this paper. The next tool that I'm going to talk about, my next teeny tiny tool, number 4, we all know what a rotary cutter is. This is a 60mm rotary cutter, large blade. We usually use the larger blade to cut through a lot of layers, maybe some heavier fabrics, works really well. But what in the world would we need this teeny tiny blade for? This is actually an 18mm rotary cutter blade by Olfa, and believe it or not, you can do a lot of freehand cutting when it comes to cutting out pieces or actually notching a piece along a curve if you need to do that. This works really well because it's teeny and tiny. So what you can do, for example, is we have this particular piece of fabric. It's just a curve here, and I'm going to show you, but you can so easily just go along the edge of this, and you can make those little cuts up to your seam allowance, or if you just need a piece that has a little bit of give to it, you can use the teeny tiny cutter. Really handy. When you're trying to use something large for this sort of thing, it tends to go too far. There's no mistakes when it comes to the teeny tiny cutter. Very simple. This particular product is a circle template set. And we can cut circles using all sorts of things, large and small. We can use a template such as a jar lid, a plate, anything like that. What is nice about this particular circle template set, this is by OmniGrid, is that it has an inside marking so that you can see actually where your circle is going to be, and then you can cut out, giving you a seam allowance. I love that. For example, let's say that we want to cut this circle out right here. It's very small. I want to make sure I have enough seam allowance on there so I can place my teeny tiny circle, center my flower right where it needs to go. I can use my teeny tiny cutter to go around the edge to cut that out, and there I have a centered teeny tiny piece that I can applique or whatever. I can also take my pencil, and the slots are large enough that I can make lines around the edge so that I know right where that center needs to be, where my seam allowance needs to be as well. So I love this teeny tiny circle. My teeny tiny tool number 6 is not this. This is a large pair of scissors. We need large scissors all the time. But take a look at this by a company called Kohana. Okay, in this package, I have a teeny tiny pair of scissors. And they're in a teeny tiny leather case with a teeny tiny tassel. I just love it, it's so cute. And look at these scissors. These are nippers. You can use them to nip fabric. You can actually use them if you need to clip something closely. They are cute, they work well, and they are really teeny and really tiny. Number 7 and number 8 are two of my favorites. So I'm going to show you number 7 first. I love Block Lock products. I love the Block Lock rulers, and I usually use either the 6.5, the 5.5, or the 4.5, depending on what my size square is that I need to trim back. But they also have a 1.5, which will trim back a 1-inch finished half square triangle. Isn't that just the cutest thing? It is next to impossible to get that accurate, for me anyway, when I'm just using a regular ruler. But the Block Lock ruler allows me to lock that seam, that diagonal seam, with the divot that's on the ruler and then trim around the edge. Works really well. And look at that, you just don't get any more accurate than that little tiny piece. So that is my Block Lock ruler, teeny tiny, 1.5 inch unfinished, 1 inch finished. My number 8 teeny tiny tool is the Flying Geese block from Block Lock. Now, everyone seems to have trouble with flying geese, getting them accurate, making sure that they come together with a nice 1/4 inch seam on the top. That's what we tend to miss out on. Block Lock makes a 3-inch by 6-inch large size Flying Geese ruler, and I love it. But they also make a teeny tiny ruler. Look at this. A very tiny Flying Geese. I don't know why I always want to make my voice go higher when I say that.
A very tiny Flying Geese.
So if you take a look at this, I made a teeny tiny Flying Geese block using the Block Lock ruler. You can see that here it is. You place the Block Lock ruler and lock it in just like you would any other, but it doesn't go anywhere. It stays so that I can actually take my rotary cutter and I can cut out this teeny tiny piece. I love this. My number 9 teeny tiny tool is a teeny tiny template by Martelli. This is the 2.5 inch square. This is the 9.5 inch square. Big difference. Both of them have the non-slip surface on the back so that when you use this on your rotary cutting mat, it doesn't move. Put fabric under it because I'm going to cut my fabric, place it here, it doesn't move. Now what you can do is you can actually twist this around on your mat so the non-skid surface is actually adhering to the fabric, and I can take my cutter and I can cut and I can cut and cut and cut, and I don't need a rotary mat. I can just use this because we know that this surface is going to adhere to this fabric. The same thing is true for the larger size, so you can compare, and they have all the sizes in between. But we have the 2.5 inch small, teeny tiny, and then the great big huge, 9.5, and then again, all the sizes in between. Martelli also makes a template for half square triangles. This is the teeny tiny size, the 2.5 inch. Once again, it does the same thing. It stays on the fabric, but you can actually twist and turn the piece as you are cutting. I love that feature. Again, the teeny tiny size, 2.5 inch, and then it goes all the way up to the 9 inch finished, 9.5 inch unfinished size. So that's a great tool as well. My number 10 teeny tiny tool has to do with the color wheel. Now, a color wheel is really important, especially when we're trying to match colors, we're trying to put coordinating colors together, we're trying to see what's going to work in our quilt. So many of us have a color wheel that we can use that actually gives us those suggestions just by turning the dial. But sometimes you're not home and you don't have your color wheel with you. Well, look at this teeny tiny tool by the Muse Company. This is a little miniature teeny tiny color wheel, and it does the exact same thing. It gives you those coordinating colors, it gives you those matching colors. It has all the things that you would want on a large color wheel right here on this little tiny pin. You can pin it to your purse, you can pin it to your quilting bag, you can pin it anywhere, and you will have that with you when you try and match those fabrics. What a great teeny tiny tool. Now, that was 10, but I have a bonus teeny tiny tool for you. What it is, actually, it's a teeny tiny quilting item. We have a big, huge quilt. Some people's quilts can be king size. They can be 110 or 120 by 120 inches. Huge. But then we also have teeny tiny quilts. And this is actually our Joy Patch. It's a teeny tiny quilt as you go patch that brings anyone who receives one joy. And how does it do that? It has a joy gem inside of it. All you do is when you make this, you sew the joy gem inside, you give it to a friend or you keep one for yourself, and before you ever use it, you think of something joyful, a joyful moment, a joyful time in your life, a joyful experience. And then when you're down or you're having a little difficulty, you keep this in your pocket at all times, pull it out, feel that joy gem. It will bring to mind that beautiful and wonderful, joyful memory and hopefully help take you out of the slump that you might be in at that particular moment. The Joy Patch is something that I have given to friends, I have given to family. I make them, they go together really quick, and we do have a pattern for the Joy Patch. It's listed in our store and the link is also in the description. So those are our 10 plus one bonus teeny tiny tools. It's so much fun to quilt when we quilt accurately, and when we find those tools that work, it makes quilting fun. It's fun to do. We love to quilt. Quilting brings us joy. I am always trying to be joyful, but I will always be merry. Thank you for joining me.